The Holy Gospel according to John. When he had gone out, Jesus said, "Now the Son of Man has been glorified, and God has been glorified in him. If God has been glorified in him, God will also glorify him in himself and will glorify him at once. Little children, I am with you only a little longer. You will look for me, and as I said to the Jews, so now I say to you, where I am going, you cannot come. I give you a new commandment, that you love one another, just as I have loved you. You also should love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another." The Gospel of the Lord. Well, this passage follows immediately after the departure of Judas. That's why that first line says, when he had gone out. He wasn't talking about Jesus, he was talking about Judas. So now he's gone out. And this portion, um, beginning in verse 31 and going to the end of the chapter of chapter 13, it is what we call the last discourse. The last discourse explains the significance and implications of Jesus' return to the Father. The last discourse is not simply another speech interpreting a sign that Jesus has done. Jesus' death and resurrection break out of the category of signs and into the realm of glory. Some call a larger section of this, the first part of John was called the Book of Signs, and the last part is called the Book of Glory. Some have made it that way. But now we are clearly into the realm of glory. Now he makes present and available to us the heavenly realities that are signified in the miracles of his own ministry. In previous teachings, the discourses were often directed to hostile audiences and were delivered against a background of rejection by those audiences. In this last discourse, however, Jesus speaks to his own, for whom he is willing to lay down his life. That's how intense his love is. The Jesus who speaks here transcends all space and time. He is a Jesus who is already on his way to the Father, and his concern is that he is not going to abandon those who will, or those who believe in him, but those believers have to remain in the world. Remember, in another place, he says, I don't pray that you take them out of the world, but that you keep them from the evil that's in the world. In many ways, this last discourse can be kind of read as Jesus' last will and testament. It's meant to be read after he has left the earth. But it's not like other last wills and testaments, which are the recorded words of people who are dead and can not speak anymore. This is given by one who still has life, and it is given to readers of the gospel and to all those who will hear it. He starts off with what sounds like a tone of triumph. Jesus says, now the Son of Man has been glorified. It sounds as if the passion were already past and his glory already disclosed in it. And sure, although Jesus is speaking at the occasion of the Last Supper, he can be just as readily speaking from heaven. Although those who hear him are his disciples, his words are directed to Christians of all time, people of all times. Then Jesus adds, and in him God is glorified. How? Because Jesus, by his own obedience unto death, has revealed the true nature of God. That nature, of course, is love. And through Christ, God shows that even if you kill me, I won't stop loving you. With the next verse, however, the tense changes to a future tense. God will also glorify him in himself. Okay, that's a bit of a confusing phrase. God will also glorify Jesus in God's self. Jesus will be glorified in God. The glory of the cross will be crowned by the Father taking up Jesus into God's own glory and Godhead. When? Now. He's thinking of his victory over death and the coming of the Spirit who will glorify Jesus. But Jesus' way to glory involves separation from his disciples who, as we said before, must stay in this world. To them, he gives a new law. I give you a new commandment, he says, that you love one another just as I have loved you. But didn't the Hebrew Bible in Leviticus tell them to love their neighbor? How's this commandment new? Well, the commandment is new because there's to be a new circle of love depending on a new center of love. That center, of course, is Christ himself. And wasn't the love of Christ's friends for Christ's sake a new thing in the world? Absolutely. What is to be the pattern and inspiration of this new kind of love? The answer is simple. Jesus had just revealed it, had just illustrated it. We are to love, Jesus says, as I have loved you. Okay? Now, he's talking about the imagery that he's just portrayed in the foot washing, referring to Christ's own death, his own death, which the foot washing symbolized. Our love is to show the same self-giving quality that Jesus has shown in going to the cross for us. Such love, he says, will be the distinguishing mark of his followers in this world. Love is the hallmark of a follower of Christ. And sometimes people are following Christ when they don't even know they are. Now, that takes a little while to think about. Jesus had said, remember, that I have sheep that are not of this flock. There are other people who are following Christ. Remember, I told you about a Muslim friend of mine who came from a city in Turkey where there was almost equal parts Jewish, Muslim, and Christian. And they all celebrated each other's holidays. And when they had festivals, they would all come together. And I saw a video of a singer who was very popular in Turkey. And there in the background, you could see a Muslim imam, you could see a Jewish rabbi, you could see a Christian priest, all of them celebrating. And the guy was singing, "Where love is, there is God." Wow. We could almost say, and why not say it, that to follow love is to follow Christ. Well, Jesus was speaking about a spiritual journey, the journey to the Father by way of the cross. And then outside of our text, what follows our text comes in verse 36. Simon Peter's kind of puzzled question, Lord, where are you going? And Jesus then kind of hinting at Simon Peter's future martyrdom, Jesus replied, you will follow me one day, but not now. And then Peter presses on, why not now? I'm ready to lay down my life for you. Peter was trying his best to do for Jesus what the good shepherd does for the sheep by laying down his life for them. Poor, loyal, ignorant, impetuous Peter. He has to learn not only what sadness awaits him before the dawn breaks, but also that until his master has walked away alone, walked his way alone, he cannot become the true and living way for all his followers, Peter included. It's been wisely said that this last discourse is best understood when it is the subject of prayerful meditation, and all of that's true. And yet, to look at the literary and theological tone of the work truly makes it out to be a work of genius. Yeah, we can point to meaningful repetitions, confusing time perspectives, and varieties of expectations about the post-resurrection presence of Jesus with his disciples. But none of that should prevent us from recognizing that the last discourse is one of the greatest compositions in all of human literature. The one who speaks here speaks as no one has ever spoken before or since. Thanks be to God.